Hi and welcome back to the channel. My name is Drew and this is the Just a Guy Linux YouTube channel. So last week I said that I would be putting out new content and I will be doing that today. So I kind of wanted to stick with my plan in terms of following my path in Linux. And what I did was I started off like many people in Linux Mint, so Cinnamon Desktop and so on. And, went to Arch-based distributions like Antergos and Manjaro and Artix, as well as other Debian type distributions. And so what I want to do, though, is really focus on what the interface looked like. So as a Cinnamon user, going to XFCE, then wanting to change to a window manager like OpenBox and BSPWM, which I've featured on this channel, I have not done DWM. Now, I don't use DWM anymore, but I did want to stay true to how I used it when I did, and I did for quite a while actually. So let's do an installation. I'm going to try and knock out the installation really quickly, and I want to add BTRFS and Timeshift to this, so in case we have to roll it back. And this might be something that you might want to do when you do a base level install. So let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to go to Advanced Options, okay? And I am going to go quickly, so I apologize if you need to stop and pause. And I'm going to go to Expert Install. And as soon as we get through this, we're going to choose the language of English. Now I have, like I said, I've done this on my channel before, so some of you will be like, why are you doing this again? And it's only for those that have not seen the channel before. And I want to go down to configure the keyboard, and I'll show you, like I said, it will make sense at some point, maybe not. Detect the media. It may not make sense at all. That's fine. A lot of times, actually, I really started the channel so that I wouldn't forget stuff on how to do stuff. Load components, and I'm going to hit continue. I watch my channel way too much. It's like, how did I do that? I forgot. And we're going to do the hardware. I am using a test computer. This is on actual metal. This is not on a virtual machine. I do it on metal all the time. I don't think I'm very good at using virtual machines. I think that's the bottom line. Configure the network. And yes, we're just going to go. I'm using a wired connection, not wireless. I apologize if you were expecting a Wi-Fi demonstration. I'm not good at it, but I know that other people are. So DWM demo is my host name, and that's fine. I'm going to just take that out and hit OK. And I'm going to enable shadow passwords, yes, but I am going to say no to allow login as root. And then my name, and then my password. And we're going to configure the clock, yes. And we're in the eastern part of the US. And we're going to partition the disk. Now we are going to slow down slightly here because we're going to have to do a manual partitioning. And we're going down to this, which is an SSD drive. Okay. And we are going to create a new and empty partition using GPT. I'm going to arrow down to the free space, and I'm going to create a new partition. And I'm just going to back up to 256 here and just put M for megabytes. I think that's fine. And hit continue. And we're going to use the beginning. And I'm going to use this as a EFI system partition and hit enter. And we are done with that. Now we're going to go down one to the rest of the free space and create a new partition using all the rest of the free space. And we're going to use this as BTRFS. And we are done with that. So let's finish. And we do not need to return to the partitioning menu. I did not set up swap, and that was intentional. And let's write the changes. Yes. Now again, stop. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't install the base system. Because what we have to do now is really get into the BTRFS. And we're going to do that by hitting Control-Alt F2. And then we're going to hit Enter. Type df space -h so that you can see SDA1 and SDA2 at the bottom of that list. All right. Now we need to umount or unmount and the target boot EFI and hit Enter. And also umount the target and hit Enter. All right, let's ls. You'll see the MNT directory. Okay. Now we're going to mount SDA2. So /dev/SDA2 to the MNT directory. Okay. And now let's cd into that. And let's ls. And you'll see the @rootfs, which is a subvolume created by the system. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move that @rootfs to just the symbol. Okay, there's going to be two subvols. One's going to be that symbol, and then the other is going to be @home. So we're going to hit Enter. Okay. Now let's create the other subvol by going BTRFS and then subvolume. Create. And then @home. Okay. And so let's ls again, and you'll see that there are two subvols. Okay. Now, let us, we're going to add options to these subvolumes by typing in mount-o. Okay. No a time. Oh, no a time. There we go. Space _cache, and then compress equals zstd, and then this is an SSD. If you don't have an SSD, then don't do this and the next command either. SSD, as well as discard equals async. Now, comma, subvol equals the @ and this is dev SDA2 and then /target. Okay. Now we're going to have to make a few some directories. mkdir -p for the parent switch, and we're going to make target boot EFI. Okay. And we're going to also make directory and then say target and then home. Now, let's go up arrow a few times. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to use this command, and we're going to say subvol is @home. And then target SDA2 is fine, but we want to also add the home. Okay. Yes, I understand. It word wrapped. It's fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and mount SDA1 back now. All right. So dev SDA1, and that's going to be target boot EFI. All right. Now we need to actually change the FS tab. That's something that it's something that Debian does not do without manual intervention. So nano and etc and oh, sorry, it has to be target. Target, etc, and then FS tab. Okay. And what we're going to do is go down to this UUID, the very first one that's using BTRFS. Okay. And we're going to need to remove the defaults and add the same options that we just had in that, those last couple commands. So no A time and space _ cache and compress equals ZSTD, as well as SSD, again, optional, and discard equals async. And again, this subvol we changed the name of to the plain old @ symbol. Now on my keyboard, I'm gonna hit home. Okay, and so it went to the very beginning of the line. Okay, now we're going to cut and paste. So Control K to cut, Control K, and we're going to Control U to paste twice. 1, 2. Okay. Now we are going to add home here. I'm going to go ahead and delete a few characters just so that the BTRFS file, this lines up. This is all fine until we get to this @ symbol, and this is going to be at home. And I'm going to hit home again, and we are going to Control U, Control O to write, and Control X to exit. And that is it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is Control Alt F1. Control Alt F1, and now we're ready to install the base system. Okay. All right, that wasn't that hard, right? How many minutes are we in? 12 minutes. All right. I was thinking I was going to do less time, but oh well. I'll probably try to put, you know what, I might learn how to put in like chapters into these YouTube videos. That way you can skip ahead if you'd like. I guess that's on me, right? All right. We are gonna install the base system, and then once we do that, I have been typically adding the testing packages, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to stay with Debian stable for this particular series. All right, it's a silence that I'm uncomfortable with now. Okay. Now let's configure. We're going to use mirror, and I'm going to use a US mirror. You're fine using anything. In fact, if I didn't know which one, I would probably pick this FTP one. I do know for me, I'm going to use these Atlanta mirrors, and I'm going to go to continue. Yes, and then I'm going to say no to this. Okay. And I'm going to keep everything exactly the way it is. So continue. In case we have to add backports later, we shall. Select the software or upgrade. So what happens in this step is it goes out and searches the Debian package to see if anything needs to be updated prior to the reboot. You never have to like install updates once you're done with this installation. Which is great, because I don't know if any of you have done point installations in the past, especially if you are, I'm going to say no, especially if you're like a Windows user and you install Windows, which takes freaking forever, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and spacebar these so that you're not installing anything, okay, except the standard utilities. And I'm going to go continue. But the amount of packages needed once you've installed Windows. By the way, every time I've done Windows, even for my son who's in college, my son, it's like hours of installing on a computer. And for whatever reason, he just will not listen to me about doing a dual boot at least. Okay, let's get to this. Nope. And finish. Okay. And continue. All right. I'm going to take the installation media out. And we're going to be going to a brand new, I'm going to go ahead and enter a brand new base Debian minimal install. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and log in. I know that for some of you, seeing how small the font is on this, I'm going to go ahead and sudo dpkg reconfigure, and then console setup. And this is good. Good. I'm going to go down to terminus, and I'm going to go to the largest, and I'm going to hit Control L, and now we've got big boy font size. All right. So the very first thing I want to do is install, since we have our BTRFS file system, I want to install Timeshift. Okay. And granted, it's going to take a few minutes to do this, but I want to show you that this is what I would probably do. I want to do this ahead of time. I think of anything in the future that I do. That way I can always reset back to a base install, okay? And that way, even if I install a bunch of packages on top of that, it's going to give you basically a fresh machine with no packages installed. Except Timeshift. I mean, that would be the one thing. Okay, so let's do this now. Sudo Timeshift. Okay, now look at the, you want to say, you want to see what the, what the examples are here. So if I say Timeshift, there's not going to be anything, but if I try Timeshift list, oh, I need to do sudo, sorry. So sudo Timeshift list, there's nothing there. Now, let's go ahead and create one. So sudo Timeshift, and then we're going to create, let me go ahead, actually, you know what? Let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and Control L that way. And then oh, I hit wrong one. This is why you should. This is why you should edit your videos, dummy. Okay, so let's do that. All right, so it's mounted. It found everything, and so now when I hit list, it shows that number 0. So let's go ahead and test that theory. All right, so sudo apt install and micro and also neofetch. Okay. And we're gonna just do that real quick, and then when it's complete, so as I say neofetch, all right, and so that's there. Let's look at that again. Sudo timeshift, and let's restore. So we're going to sudo timeshift -- restore, and which one? We want to do the 0 and hit enter. Now, see how it basically says continue, and it's asking you to verify whether you want to do this or not. So say yes, but we won't see it until we've rebooted. So let's do that. Sudo reboot. All right, let's type in. And now, if you recall, we did the time shift before we installed neofetch. So if I type in neofetch now, there's nothing there because we set the clock back on the system, basically. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I think that I want to keep that as part of my kind of like normal installation for a machine. I just want to go back to the base. Just to the base install of this minimal Debian distro. So what are we going to do now? Well, we're going to install DWM. Now let's sudo apt install micro, and I'm going to install git. And let's go ahead and install neofetch just to be cool. And let's go ahead and clear the screen. And what we're going to do is, let's say neofetch. Cool. Let's Control L again and say git clone. And then HTTPS, this is the install portion of DWM. github.com/drewgriff. This is my repository. Now, I'll show you. Let me just go ahead and complete my thought here. DWM Debian. Okay. Now, ls. Let's go into DWM Debian. Okay. And let's look at what's there. And there's an install.sh shell script. So let's take a look at that real quick. Micro install sh. Okay. Now, you'll see this is, if you've done videos with me in the past, you know that I write scripts so that you don't have to and you do a lot of installation. Or if you just want a list of the commands that you can kind of pick and choose. Now, everything that you see here is kind of self-explanatory. Now, we already installed Timeshift, so we don't need to do that again. Okay. And we are using, I wanted to use Tilix here for, but we're going to also install ST, which is the Suckless Tools terminal. And we're going to install all of our sound packages. Now we have installed. Let's go ahead and actually just not do this command at all. All right, let's comment that. We're going to install exa. I'm going to not install cups, and I'm not going to say enable because we'll do that later. Let's install Firefox. We can install Fay as well as, because that only take a second, as well as nitrogen. And then we're going to install a few things, including Polkit, Scrot mousepad for a really simple terminal. We've already installed micro, so we don't need to do that again. And we're going to install some fonts. There's one I wanted to add, but I think I'll just, I'll do that offline. Now, if you want to install LightDM as your kind of like console display manager, I've left this here in case you want to use this. Now, I'm going to use Lie console on this particular build. Now, here are the prereqs for the Lie console manager. I'm going to run through this sudo make install and so on. But this is where we actually start the DWM install. It's right here. Let me just add that real quick. DWM installs is here. Okay. So what we're doing here is we are creating a DWM desktop file that's going to get put into the user share X sessions directory, so that once the Lie console manager sees that, we can easily log in and we don't have to use start X or anything like that. So I am actually creating a directory called suckless in the .config directory, so that everything that we're going to install is going to go into the .config suckless directory. I am installing another prereq for DWM, and this is a loop. So we're going to install DWM and then dmenu, and it's going to go and it's going to get those those files, st, sl status, slock, and tabbed, and then it's going to download them and clone them, and then it's going to go through the process of installing them for you. You don't have to do that, but you can see what I've done if you want to do it manually. And then I'm going to install these nerd fonts, and then that is it. Okay, so I'm taking a lot of the teaching aspect out of it, but if you look at this installation, you'll know what has to be done in order to start off with a brand new clean DWM. So let's Control S if you're using micro, which is to save, and then Control Q to quit. And now we're going to install SH. Okay. It's going to go through things fairly quickly. I recognize that this is a longer video than I really had planned. So what we're going to do is once it installs and we can log in, we're going to probably stop and then do the second video about about changing how it behaves and the key bindings and everything like that in another video. Hopefully this script works. I think I only tested it once. So your guess is as good as mine. And I've wasted 30 minutes on this video if it doesn't work, right? I kind of wanted to use the stable version of Debian on this because DWM, if you're using DWM, you're a kind of person that wants to have something as clean and lightweight as possible. I don't know that you're going to be that interested in like the latest and greatest on things because, like I said, DWM it's still being maintained. Don't get me wrong, but it's not for everybody. It truly isn't for everybody. Like anything, you know, BSPWM is not for everybody. I3 is not for everybody, and so on. So, you know, like me, I'm just, you know, people love KDE. I'm just not that enthusiastic about it. So, whatever. To each his own. I have gotten some really good feedback by people that have been using the bash scripts that I write to do an installation. And if you are one of those people, thank you. And if you're someone that hasn't done it in the past, but has benefited by these type of scripts, please let me know in the comments section below that you used it and either you had a problem or that you really liked it or that you know, that you have a differing opinion. That's fine. Okay, Bluetooth. The reason why I installed Bluetooth on this is because this particular test machine actually has Bluetooth. You know, my actual work machine has no Bluetooth, but this one does, so whatever. All right, we're looking at fonts now, and now we're looking at the Lie Console Manager, and that was installed. And now we are installing DWM, and dmenu I think just went by, and now here's the ST terminal, SL status. And then we are going to be done in a minute. Okay, so actually it went through that whole installation, and now we're installing some. This is a option, obviously. This is just some nerd fonts that I like to install, and it should only take a couple seconds. Okay, good. Now we are going to go ahead and yeah, we're going to just go ahead and reboot. Okay. Let's see if this works. Oh, cool. All right. So this is the Lie Console Manager, and you know it found our DWM. We can go to shell or anyway, so we can just type in our password, and we're going to go straight in, and this is DWM. Now, if you need to, I mean, like I said, we're going to stop here, but if you need to do something right now, it's going to be Alt, it's going to be the modifier. So you're going to say Alt P. Okay, Alt P is your D menu. So if I want to go to ST, for example, and that's actually not a good suggestion. Okay, so let's Firefox, for example. Okay, and then you can go. Actually, it looks like it opened in Workspace 9. So there you go. If you're in go check Workspace 9, Workspace 1, and if you're in Workspace 1 and you type and you get Alt Shift Enter, you're in the ST terminal. Let me go back to 9 for a second. Oop, it's Alt 9, and let's go ahead and Alt Shift C, which is to close. We're gonna we're gonna change this. So Alt 1 is to go back, and let's type in neofetch, and there you go. And look at the memory. Let me think. There we go. Let me blow that up a little bit. So to do that, by the way, is Control Shift Page Up. So anyway, we'll see you guys next time when we really go into DWM and do some changes. But this is the base install. Super lightweight, right? 261 megabytes. That's very, very light. And if you like this, please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.